welcome to the Fiber Tales podcast. My name is Lærke and I'm coming to you from Odense, Denmark. But today it's a pretty grey day and for some reason the camera has decided to make my face very pink. So that's just how it's gonna be. I just went to look in the mirror because I thought it cannot be true that my face is so pink, and it's not. So apparently it's some setting, and I'm not gonna bother with it now. I just really want to get started because I have a lot of stuff to talk about for this episode. If you're new to this channel, welcome. And then you probably don't know that I've been to Edinburgh Yarn Festival last week. If you're not new, you would have heard me talk about this quite a lot, and I'm super excited talking some more about it. I hope I can make this episode somehow, let's say, understandable, because I have so many things I want to talk about. I met so many wonderful people. I'm super excited. I have bought so much yarn, which I will show you all later on. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about for this episode, and I might take a few breaks in between just to collect my thoughts and see where this is going. So before I start the podcast episode, I really wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who commented on my last video. It was I had a little section about Hygge in my last video, which has been a quite popular topic in the last years, and I thought it was so much fun to read through all your comments, and there were a lot of things I had not thought about in respect to Hygge, and I thought I feel like I learned a lot. That's what I wanted to say. So, and I picked the winner. So the winner I picked, I used some website that finds a random winner from the YouTube video, and I picked, and that one picked, I didn't pick, a woman called Sheila Peters. So congratulations, Sheila. I will send you the project back once I finish it. If you see this, please get in touch with me. If not, I will contact you sometime during this week. And I need your contact information so I can send you the project back in the mini skeins. Yeah, so that was about Hygge, and now we can get into the podcast episode, because the first thing I want to talk about is my finished object, and I finished it not on Tuesday as I was expecting when I podcasted last time. I finished this one on Wednesday morning. And I was leaving on Wednesday afternoon to go to Edinburgh. So I finished it around 11 o'clock, and since it's the Birkin sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and I talked a lot about it in my recent episodes, and since I was a little bit in a hurry and I really wanted to block it because I had some fit issues and I really wanted to see how they would block out, I talked to my friend and we agreed it's a superwash sweater. It should be able to go into on a wool program in the machine and give it a good spin. So I gave it a really good spin after I finished, and it came out pretty dry. I laid it flat and I let it dry outside for a bit. Then I put it on the radiator. And finally I just had to give up and pack it into my suitcase in a plastic bag, which was not my preferred way of doing it, but it was just damp. It had pretty much dried up, and I thought I could just take it out of the suitcase. The trip was we had 1.5 hours of train, and then of course we had to be a few hours before in the airport, and then we had another 1.5 hours of plane and then getting there. So it wasn't that long, and it wasn't damaged in any way, and it dried up overnight, so I could wear it at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And I promised to talk more about the fit because I was concerned about some fit issues and other people have been talking about the same fit issues, so I really wanted to go in depth about this sweater today it's my only finished object. But before I start, I wanted to show you, I have this book, which is not little. It's from the Japanese company, what is it called? Muji, I think, because it doesn't say in English. And now I bought it when I was in Lisbon in November. And it's very nice because it has like little ribbons, so I can close it up, which means I can stuff a lot of things in here. And this is my little project page I made for this backend, and someone commented, I think on Instagram, that she loved the watercolor effect of this yarn, so I have named this sweater my watercolor Birkin. And here you can see I tried to add in all the labels. I think I'm missing one, and some of the yarn I need to put in some of the white yarn at the bottom, but these are the colors I used. And this over here, I will show you, I don't need to hold it up. This is an illustration made by Paul. I will try to say it this time. She's the very sweet woman behind Urso Yarn Co., which is the hand-dyed, what am I saying? The hand-dyer behind this yarn. She creates kits that she sells on Etsy for the Birkin sweater and also for other stuff. And she's also an illustrator, and she made this beautiful, beautiful drawing, which is also what, attracted me to the kit. And so as you can see, she made the cuff with the pink, and I actually thought to do that, but finally I decided not to, because it's so busy up here. There's so much color, and I'm a person that likes things to be a little more muted, so even though I would look good with the pink hair, I think. So yeah, this is the illustration that came with the kit, and I know she will have kits out in April, so follow her on Instagram. She's Urso Yarn Co. I will put a link, and also keep an eye out for her Etsy shop. So let me just show you how it looks like after it's been blocked. I decided to do, don't mind my nice and cozy home pants, because I didn't feel like putting on proper pants. So I decided to make the sleeves cropped, so like 3/4 length sleeves. The body is also it's short. I didn't check the pattern. Once I finished the yoke and divided for the sleeve and body, I just did what I wanted to do. I didn't do the A-line shaping, so it's just straight down. My belly button is here, so you can see it's just a little lower, and it's a bit creased because it's been in the suitcase. And what about the fit? I mean, it did help a lot with the blocking. It's much easier to wear now. It still has a little bit this feeling like you have something sitting on your shoulders, which I haven't experienced in other yoke sweaters. It's because there are no increases in all of the sections, so it's a more like a tube construction. I think it's okay now. I think I can wear it. It goes up a little high in the neck. I wish it would be just a little more down. I don't know. This is actually the only part that bothers me now, is it comes up a little high. And I did do short row shaping in the back. Don't know if you can see them. So it's only here I feel it, and I don't feel like it does bunch up a bit. Of course, if I raise my arms, you will see, but it kind of falls down. I've been wearing it with how you call it in English, a top, without sleeves underneath. I don't know why the word is not coming to me. So like something sleeveless underneath, so it means it glides more on my arms. I think if I was wearing it with a t-shirt or a long sleeve t-shirt, it would get stuck to the fabric a bit more and then not fall down so easily. But all in all, I'm really happy. I'm so relieved because I was so worried it wouldn't work, and I think it's a beautiful sweater. I got some compliments on it at Edinburgh. I of course decided to wear it on the day, I don't know if it was the coldest day, but it was the only day we didn't have tickets for, and we had to wait in line for an hour, and I was freezing. All the other days I wore big chunky hand knit sweaters, and on Friday I wore this one, and I would say for me this is a spring summer kind of sweater, since I made it short sleeve, and the wool is, since it's a superwash, it's a little less warm, I feel. It's a fingering. The wool is blue-faced Leicester, so it's quite soft. It does have a little bit of that superwash feel to it that I'm starting to realize I really don't like. I mean, I don't like the concept of superwash so much, because it's a chemical process that's not very environmentally friendly, and it kind of takes away from the wool some of the properties I really like. But after knitting this and wearing it, I realized that I really want to avoid superwash wools as much as possible. I know the problem is for hand dyers that superwash wool is the easiest to dye on, and that takes the dye the fastest, so you have to use different techniques if you want to dye on non-superwash yarns, from what I understand. And so I know there are some issues, and I keep falling in love with superwash yarns, but because of this, when I was at the festival, it was actually very easy for me to avoid the superwash yarns. They're very beautiful, but I keep thinking, do I want to knit with them? Do I enjoy the process? Will I enjoy the finished object? Not only on a picture, because on a picture it looks beautiful, and I mean, I'm not saying it's horrible. It's a nice sweater and I like it, but I just like non-superwash more. So that's one thing I've been realizing, that I start getting to know myself better when it comes to fibers, when it comes to colors. And when you see what I bought, you will also notice a color scheme going on. I feel like the older I've gotten, the more I know myself and I know my taste, and that's actually a really nice place to get to. So yeah, as you can hear, my voice is not the best. The day I was waiting in line, I was waiting for 1 hour in the freezing cold, and the wind was going through all the clothes, and since then my voice just started disappearing. It didn't help that there was a lot of talking at the festival, which of course was a lot of fun. So my voice has been, it sounds a little different. So I'm sipping on some tea. The same as the last time. It's a organic green mango tea from Tender Tea, which is a very lovely tea. So what more did I want to say about my Birkin? Yeah, I feel like it's not as bad as I feared. It could be a little bit better, but it's definitely a sweater I will wear. I was afraid I would not wear it. I was afraid it would mean that, it would just be one of those projects, and I have a few one of those that just I never used them. And I wore it already a few times. Yesterday I wore it, and I think I will. It's perfect for spring. I'm looking, and I think the colors are too. So I can just get up one last time and show you the color work. It's not as even as I would have wished, but that's the best I could do with this. I mean, once you block it, it actually evens out a lot, but I still feel like the superwash doesn't grab, the stitches don't melt together in the same way. So, but it's a very beautiful sweater, so I'm not gonna complain too much more about that. Let me just put this down. So that was my only finished object, and I finished it before Edinburgh. For Edinburgh, I brought a sock project, as I talked about before I left, and let me just get it. One second. Which I have in my little moth bag. I've gotten a lot of questions about this bag. I really want to make some more to sell, but I have some issues that I have to figure out before. So please be a bit patient. For now, I might use them. as I did for the giveaway, and I already have agreed to swap some for some things, but yeah, I have to figure out how I can do if I want to sell them. So it will take a little more time before they will be available for everyone, I think. So what I brought with me to Edinburgh was, this. This is the first sock I made before Edinburgh. So it's a sock made in the yarn by Rosa Pomar, who is the woman behind Retrosaria in Lisbon, and it's 100% wool sock yarn, very lovely yarn. And I've talked about this before, but just to give a little reminder of what it is. And I managed to knit the cuff and the ribbing and the cuff for the second sock. And then one night I just realized I had to stop because I was about to do the heel, and I forgot to bring the white color with me because it's a bit stuffed when I have both the colors in here. This bag is the size of a, let's say, 1 skein project. So it was interesting because I changed needles. I have this project on a new set of needles that I got at the festival, and this is the Chiagoo lace that I purchased. It's a 2.5 millimeters, and I really wanted to try out some different tools, and in the shops here they can be hard to find, and I prefer buying things that I can touch, so I tend not to buy these things online. And I'm pretty happy with them. I'm only a little nervous that the gauge might be just a little bit different because they're different from the needles that I used before. But let's see, it looks like they're the same. It's only on the cuff I'm a bit nervous, so maybe the twisted rib got a little bit tighter. But it might also be because the other ones have been on sock blockers, so I think they will be fine if let's see, it's just a little bit, this one is a little bit shorter. So let's see how that goes. So that was, I was knitting on this on the first days, and since I forgot to bring the white contrasting color that I'm using for heels, cuff and toes, I had to do something else, and so I started winding some balls, which I will show you and I will talk more about. I had my first try at using nistepinne, which it would be vinnepin in Danish, and nistepinne is, I guess, in Norwegian or in Swedish, I don't know. But I couldn't find a more international name, so that's the name I'm using, or an English word for it. So this project has been keeping me company while I was at EYF, and I have another project which I started on Saturday, I think, with some of the yarn I purchased while I was at the festival, and in this little bag. And I got this bag at the airport, and this is the last thing I got before going home, and I was already feeling pretty guilty. And I mean, it was my plan to buy a lot of yarn, but I was starting to feel a bit like, okay, maybe I should stop spending money because I need to be good and not crazy. So I bought this little bag. It was my last purchase. It's the only souvenir kind of thing I got, and I got it in the souvenir shop, but I think it's perfect as a project bag. And in here I have I will show you the yarn in a second. I have this little, it's a little sweater, or a little t-shirt sweater. The pattern is Rimor's summer blouses, summer top, something like that, by Petite Knits, and this is gonna be my entrance for the Knit Dance Cal that I'm hosting. So it's a knit along to celebrate Danish yarn and designers, and I am I really wanted to knit this one for my daughter. So I was looking, it was on my list for Edinburgh, and I looked for yarn that I thought would be fitting. And as you can see, it has these little pretty flowers all over that are just eyelets, like 4 little eyelets creating the flower, and the rest is pretty simple. I did the ribbing on the bottom too long because it said to do it for 5 rows, and I read 5 centimeters, and finally I did 3, because once I did 3 I was like, this is getting really long. And that's how it goes when you start knitting at a festival and things are happening around. I'm really happy with the stitch definition, and this yarn is just, it's wonderful. Here you can see the ball I wound up. It's not very neatly done, but I wanted to cast on. And here you have the skein. I got 2 skeins, and it's the Knit by Numbers DK weight from John Arbon fibers. I don't know, they're just John Arbon. And it is the most amazing and soft. I mean, normally I like rustic, but I also do like soft, and for my daughter I like things to be softer. And this is, I really like this because this is organic merino, non-superwash, and it's 100% pure Falkland merino. And I just think it's amazing. This yarn is a mix with gray and like a pinkish orange, and it has a very specific color, so it's a little bit hard. Sometimes you will see like a little orange speck. It's pretty hard to capture, and I think on my latest Instagram post, after I posted, I realized it looked totally purple, but I didn't feel like deleting the picture. I like the picture, but it's just, yeah, it's a kind of yarn that changes a bit in the light, but it's more like a pinkish orange, a little bit orangey, and I'm not a fan of orange generally, but in this way it looks very pretty, and I think it will be a perfect summer sweater for her. It's quite warm, but it's the Danish summers are not that great generally. So yeah. By the way, I just realized I got some comments about looking into the camera, and the problem is I'm recording on my phone, so the camera is in a weird spot at the side, and I get confused looking at myself. And I guess that's the same for everyone, but I just don't have a fancy camera with where you can look into the viewfinder. So if I sometimes look in the wrong direction or get confused, it will come. Just, you don't need to mention it. It just makes me more self-conscious about where I'm looking. I mean, I know people are doing it the nicest way, probably. They just want to help, but yeah, it doesn't help. Okay, but that was the yarn, and I'm super happy about this yarn. The little, it's a t-shirt sweater, but I think I might do it with long sleeves again, because it's a weird concept for me. I mean, it's really cute, but either it's too cold and I prefer her wearing long sleeves, or it's so warm she can wear a normal t-shirt. It's like, yeah, either or a lot here in Denmark. So, but I will see how much yarn I have left, because I need a little bit more body, I think, just a little bit more, and then I still have 1 skein left, so I think I will have enough for that. Anything else I should say about this yarn? No. I guess I will talk a little bit about the John Arbon in general, because that was a really beautiful booth at the festival, and I will forget talking about it since this is the only yarn I got. And it was just lovely. They had so many colors, and they would have all these colors in like different tones, from a completely dyed and then faded into like in gray shades, so all the time getting less and less color. And it was, I really wanted to get a sweater's quantity for myself. Only thing I'm a bit worried about, or I'm trying to figure out how it's gonna work, is how if it's gonna peel, because it does seem a bit like a yarn that would be prone to peeling, so we'll see. And just the colorway is the KBN 120, and the batch is this one. So So if you're interested, it's beautiful yarn. They have many beautiful colors, and they had little mini skeins that were just so sweet, and I really wanted to get some, but yeah, not gonna. Okay, we have to move on because I have so much yarn, and if I'm gonna talk so much in depth about everything, I might have to split this video up or something. So that was my recent work in progress, and this is just a couple of days of knitting. It's knitting up super fast. I hope to be done this week. So now it's on to the festival and talking about what happened. I will tell a little bit about my experience. If you're not interested, that's fine. I can understand it's can be annoying when you're not there. Also, I decided to show the yarn while I'm talking about the festival, just like a little story, instead of doing a haul where I just show everything one at a time. So I tried to separate what I got and what happened into days, and I will try my best to remember what happened and how it happened, and probably I will mix up some info. Just so you know, I cannot, yeah. You will have to watch the whole thing if you're interested in the yarn, and that's just how it is. Yeah, so let's get started with day 1. I went on this trip with a friend who lives very nearby. She's called Heidi, and I know if you were at EYF you would have seen us. She was a bit my manager on the trip and promoting my designs and stuff. She's the best. She's just the sweetest, and she was a great traveling companion. And she joined me for all my yarny adventures during these 4 days. So yeah, and when we left for the festival on, as I mentioned, Wednesday evening, and we got to our Airbnb in Edinburgh at around, I think it was 1 o'clock or something, so it was quite late, and the next day we just took it easy. We didn't go to the festival, to the coin exchange before, I think we were at 10 or something. We took it easy, we had a breakfast, and actually it was nice because we had the passes and we didn't stand in line at all that day, and it was very nice on Thursday because it was a bit more quiet. I mean, it was still a lot of people, a lot of yarn, and a bit hectic, but it was nice. We could walk around, try to get a feel of everything, figure out how things were working. So I think we went pretty much straight to the podcasters lounge, as I haven't been podcasting for that long and I didn't apply for it. I wasn't part of the official podcasters, so it was a bit strange if I should go sit together. So we didn't in the beginning. We were just sitting. There was a big like a cafe, and then a lot of tables in front of the podcasters lounge, so people could just sit there and knit and talk. And next to the lounge was Blacker Yarns, and there was also this Garthanor, if I say it correctly, Garthanor, which is organic yarn, and we went there to sniff around as the first thing, and they had the perfect thing. I mean, isn't this the cutest little ball of yarn? It's called number 2, and they had this little like swatch balls, like mini skeins, but for me I would use this as a swatch and then see what I would like to get. It's a 4-ply, it's called Pebble, so it's a little bit of a warm light gray color. It's hard to see with this light. Yeah, I cannot do so much. And it's a pure new Shetland wool. It's GOTS certified, so it's a certified organic, and it's 10 grams, and it's just the sweetest thing ever. They had a lot of beautiful yarn, all natural colors. I have the little leaflet here, and it says it's 100% organic, 100% British, 100% undyed, 100% traceable, and 100% Garth and Nora. And I really like their I really like this idea of a brand just with this focus, and the yarn was really beautiful, but I didn't have a plan for what to get, so I didn't want to just buy a lot of, I already bought a lot of yarn, so this was perfect. It's the perfect way to get to know the yarn, and then later on I could order from them. And on the back it actually says that you can add a splash of color to your stash, and that they have their yarn dyed, so I will have to look into that because I didn't look at this before, and that sounds pretty interesting because the yarn is beautiful and I'm a lover of rustic yarns, but sometimes I like to have some color as well. So this will be something I will look more into. Beautiful yarn, beautiful concept, very nice. And then I went on to get something that, this was what I was just talking about. This is dyed by Old Maiden Aunt, and I don't know if you can see, it looks a little more vibrant on the camera, but it is variegated, like heavily variegated, I would say. Yarn on a gray base. Let's see, I don't know if this helps anything. And as I said, it's dyed by Old Maiden Aunt, and it is dyed on Uist wool. I want to say Uist, but in English it should probably be pronounced Uist. Uist sounds funny. That's and it's 100% Scottish wool from the Hebrides. And again, I get so confused because the Danish words are so similar, so I get confused if I should pronounce it like more like the Danish. Danish would be Hybriderne, Hebrides, those islands on the coast of Scotland. And it is 50 grams, it's hand wash only, and the colorway is this, you can see. And I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Now the sun came out and it's a little bit difficult to show. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And then the woman told me at the Old Maiden Aunt booth that this came from, was dyed on this. So I went to, a little bit later, I went to the Uist booth and got the same base. I don't know what I will make with these two. I think maybe some colorwork mittens, something I had maybe. I just had to get them. I just had to get the matching body. One looks much smaller than the other one, but they are both, let me see, 50 grams. I guess it's just how the skeins have been wound up. This is called Sith, I imagine. It's again from the same place, from the Hebrides, that place, those islands. Oh, I feel so stupid not knowing how to say the words, but that's how it is. I'm not native English or anything, and so many times I get confused about pronunciations, as it happens to everyone. Sith actually means peace, and I think that's so beautiful. It's a 4-ply. It's made up by, I guess, these 3 sheep breeds. And it's 175 meters per 50 grams. And this one costs £12. I don't know if there was a price on this one, and I can't remember. I just kind of bought yarn without looking too much on the price because, I mean, I was trying to be reasonable, but I also didn't want to feel bad all the time, so I just got what I really wanted to get. I only got yarns that I won't be able to get here where I live, and so I think that was my goal for this trip. And these are just absolutely lovely. It's a nice rustic yarn, but not too crunchy. It's still like soft and very lofty. Yeah. It's gonna be a long episode. I'm just warning you. I'm so in love with all the yarn I got, so I have to talk about everything. And at that booth, at the UIST booth, I saw this yarn and I fell in love. And this is the Canach, maybe Canach or Sana it says. And it's the same story. It's a 4-ply, 50 grams, Scottish merino. This yarn is very soft, very, very soft. It's quite tightly spun, so it has a high twist. And normally I'm not a lover of high twist. I like it to be more, like more softly plied, or yeah. But this one just has something about it, and it's tweedy and has little specks. Let me get the ball band off, and maybe you can see it better like this. It's so incredibly squishy and soft, and I got one skein just to think about it. Actually, with the other one too, I thought maybe I would come back for more. I thought I would have plenty of time to come back for more, and yeah. The only thing I would say about this brand is I wish they would have a little bit nicer labeling, because they are just so amazing, and the label is not the logo itself is very nice, but it's just a thin paper and it gets really curled up. It was in my suitcase, like not curled up, how do you say, like, yeah, it doesn't last long. When I look at it next to the Old Maiden Aunt that's on a nice brown paper, it just looks so much better. So I hope they will do something about the label. It could be nicer, I think, and it could be more appropriate for this beautiful yarn. Just a little thing, but the yarn is absolutely amazing. So that's what I got, and then we went to Isolde's booth, and Isolde is absolutely the most adorable person. She's so sweet. I mean, we talked a little bit to her. She was very busy, so wasn't a lot, and during the days we went back there several times because it was a very nice area with a window and some light coming in, and I just like natural light, so I kept going there. Also because of all the beautiful yarn, and there was just a nice feel to her little area of the festival. She had her own little corner that was not in the main area. She was like in a different part, and Heidi and I were just laughing because we would watch her go change into different sweaters from the lane samples. It was just so much fun because you could see that she was cold, and she would just pick the warmer and warmer sweaters, and on the last day she was in a really big, thick Lopi sweater, I think it was. She was lovely, so I really wanted to support her, and she had all the Norwegian yarns, which I don't know, I didn't get any. Heidi, my friend, she keeps saying to me that we should go to Bergen Yarn Festival, so that's a little bit maybe a plan. So I didn't want to get so much. We're pretty close to Norway. We could take a little trip and get some yarn there. So, but what I did get is Tuko wool. Some wonderful Tuko sock. Very nice and rustic, and it's the colorway H28. I will leave it up to you to see what that is. WO or something. Yeah, it's a beautiful pinkish purpley gray. as you can see, I've been feeling the purples. I know that it's been quite popular with the light lilac-y purples lately on Instagram. I know a lot of the Danish indie designers are in love with the light fluffy purples. It's not my color. I actually don't really, it reminds me of Barbie doll houses and such. I hope no one is gonna get angry with me for saying that, but we all have different colors we like, and I really like purples, but I like the more this one is a little darker, this one is a bit more pink. I think this one is beautiful. And so we were recommended that maybe 2 skeins were not enough. They're 50 grams, but yeah. So we got, actually, Heidi and I got 5 skeins altogether of the same sock wool, and we will probably share the last skein. And since I got home, I was thinking that this yarn is so beautiful that I might knit up some mitts instead. I really want to have some fingerless mitts, and I think this would be very nice. Even though it has, so this sock wool is has 20% polyamide, and it's 80% Finnish wool. But I think for mitts, since I'm biking a lot, I bike every day to pick up my daughter, and so I think it will actually work out quite well with some, with a bit that is a bit more hard wearing. And these were 8 pounds. Now I see the name. So the name is actually H28 and then Uyo. Don't know. So these 2, and I got the Chiagoo needles that I talked about, the 2.5 millimeters, 80 centimeters cord. They're a bit more pointy than the ones I'm used to, so I will keep knitting with them and see how I feel. For now, I like them. I haven't had a feeling that I don't like them. They're in the bag. I'm not gonna get them out, but I will talk more about them once I have a bit more feel of the yarn. And so after doing all that damage on day 1, we're still on day 1, and I can see I talked for 42 minutes, so this is gonna be fun. It might be a really long episode. So I got a message from Lina from Foxandthesheeppodcast. We have been talking a bit on Instagram, and she has a podcast she also just started, and she's making this beautiful nostepinne. And I'm just laughing at my pronunciation. She wrote me that there something about what they were in the podcasters lounge, and we went up there, and since we went there to say hello to Nina, we pretty much stayed for the rest of the festival in the podcaster lounge. It was just the most cozy place. There were couches and people were sitting and talking, and once I got over the initial weird feeling of maybe I shouldn't sit here, but everybody told me that it was okay, so it was really nice. We're sitting next to all the big podcasters. I didn't say hello to everyone, simply because I am... when people are in conversations, and generally they were all the time in conversations with someone else, I feel it's very rude to go and intrude and be like, can I have a picture? Say hello to me. But whenever I saw a natural opportunity to say hello to some people, I did. So I will talk a little bit more about everyone I met. I think at the end, that's probably better. So if you don't feel like hearing about who I met at the festival, that's fine. Yep. So I met Nina, and Nina is just the sweetest. She was with her mom. We ended up spending most of the time with those 2 beautiful ladies. And we went together to the knit night at Aqua. So we didn't have tickets for the big knit night that was at the festival, so we went to Aqua, and it was very nice. We did a lot of walking that day because trying to figure out how to get to the different places without the bus. We did a lot of walking. It was fine. It was quite cold, but that was it. It was a gray day on the first day. It wasn't that it was a lot of clouds hanging low, and so it was a very grey Edinburgh that greeted us. Yes, let's go on to day 2. I will just get all the stuff on the floor and get ready, because that's the way we do it. There's so much yarn. Oh God. Okay, so let's move a bit quicker. On the second day, we already knew the area. It was a bit more easy to get around. We knew I had a plan. I went back to look at my list, and I felt like, okay, I'm going. So I went to get a skein of Gilead, and this is the quartz colorway, which is very nice. A little bit, it's on a gray undertone, like gray base. Again, you can see the gray peeping through a little bit, but other than that, it's just a light pink. I think it's wonderful. I will use this for the stalactite sweater, which I already have a sweater's quantity of Gilead for in the caramel colorway, and I thought I would just get it. I looked for other options, like not using Gilead again, but it was just the one I like the best, and I'm sure they will match as they are from the same brand. So not so much more I want to say about Gilead. It was from the Yak. I think it was from Yak and shop. I will talk more about this when I'm making the actual sweater, which I don't know when that's gonna happen because I have a lot of sweaters quantities. Yes, so I also wanted to get some blacker yarn because I was looking at the blacker booth, and actually I almost didn't get any. I don't know. It didn't really fit with any of the patterns I had in mind. Oh, this is looking very, very red brown. It's a nice orange cinnamon color. Yeah, it's looking way too red on the screen. Oh well. It's the colorway Autumn Bowers. It's the Samite. It's a silk blend from Blacker Yarns. It's very wonderful and soft. It is 20% silk, 80% pure new wool. It's woolen spun, and it is a 3-ply. And I got this thinking that I could use it for the Tekna sweater by Caitlin Hunter that I talked about, I had on my list. But if I decide not to use it for that, I think it will be very lovely for a scarf. So either the Tekna or a scarf. And I'm really sorry that it's not showing up true to color. It looks much more brown terracotta on the screen as I can see it. And in reality, it has this cinnamon brown. Yeah, that's what happens. So, but I'm looking forward to trying this yarn. It seems very lovely. And normally with silk it gets a sheen, but this yarn doesn't have a sheen. It doesn't have the normal silk look to it, so I really like that. And there were some other lovely yarns at Blacker that I had touched, and I now know which ones I like or which ones will be good for different things. I really like the Black Swan Merino, which is just incredibly soft. Not in the same way as the John Arbon, which has a more shiny, soft feeling. That one is just soft, like the soft, like if you feel some leaves have this little hair on the inside, like the I think they're called lamb's ears. In Danish they're called lamb's ears. They're like, yeah, okay, that's another story. But I'm trying to explain the softness. Sometimes it's difficult, you just have to touch it. But I really like that one, but I would have to think of a project, so I didn't buy any. But I know I like it, and it's on the website, and I can always get it. Then we went to the Baramu shop, and I got a tote bag. And the reason I got a tote bag is because I bought a sweater's quantity. That's always nice to get a little extra. And what I got is the Dovestone. This yarn is just amazing. I think the color is actually showing up pretty well. It is a cold brown or warm gray, if you will, with a purplish tint to it. I really love this color. I really, really love it. I think it's gonna be absolutely amazing. It's quite soft. It's a 2-ply. Is it a 2-ply? It's a DK. Doesn't say. It's a blend of 50% blue-faced Leicester, 25% Wensleydale, long wool, and 25% dark brown Masham. It's 100 grams. No, it doesn't say. Spun and dyed in Yorkshire. Yeah, it's 100% British. I love this one. It doesn't have a colorway except from the S. It just says S on the label, so I don't know anything more about the colorway. The funny thing about Edinburgh was that as it was all covered and there were not a lot of windows with real light, they were high up, and so all the booth had artificial light, and the colors were so hard to tell in this light. It was really annoying. And I'm really happy I got away with colors I like, because, for example, the John Arbon looked different than in the booth, but I still like it. This one, I was so confused about when I was looking at it, but I think it might be my favorite color. It's not a flashy color or a color that you necessarily notice in the beginning, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I got 4 skeins. These are the 3. The last skein, and I was looking a bit messy, I wound up into a nice ball using Nina Foxandthesheepp's nystepin. And it was a fun experience. I never tried to wind it. It was a bit pineapple shape, because I will learn now. It was just a fun experience too. She was holding the yarn, I was winding it into this ball, and I can pull from the center. So I might have to get myself one. It was a lot of fun doing. The plan for this yarn is the Syria cardigan, and I can of course not remember the designer. She's Swedish. I will put everything down below, as I always do. This is a beautiful yarn. And Bex from the little house, the tiny house. Oh, she changed her name. She knows that I already complained about that. Not complained, but I told her I cannot remember your podcast because you changed your name. She was knitting a beautiful. Was it a Lopi? No, it was a Steingas, I think, design in this yarn, and was praising it a lot, and now I'm just super excited to cast it on. So beautiful, beautiful yarn. I went a bit faster for the second day. There was a lot of talking and knitting in the podcasters lounge again on the second day, and at the end, when the day was ending, so this was on Friday, when the day was ending, they decided to take all the podcasters into a different, like a classroom kind of thing. And we just all sat there and talked and knitted for a while, but then my friend and I decided it was time to head home. We're quite tired. It's the festival makes you a little bit, you just feel exhausted at the end of the day. You're in a new country, everything is new, you have to speak a different language all the time, and meeting all these lovely people. And I met a lot of people, especially on day 2, I think. But I will talk more about the people in the end, as I said. I think that's all I wanted to say about day 2. Yeah. Let's move on to day 3. Oh yeah, I forgot to say about day 2. I went back to the UIST booth and asked them about, I wanted to buy a sweater's quantity of the grey yarn, of the Sith, but it was sold out, and they told me come early on Saturday and we will have like 20 skeins more, and the same with some other colors, they were also sold out. So we decided to come back early for day 3, for Saturday, and we had the bracelet. We had bought the entrance for the first and the third day, and it was only for the second day that we thought we might not come, but then finally it was so nice being there and there was so much to see that we decided to also go for that day. But on Saturday we had the entrance, and we didn't have to stand in line for too long, and we learned our lesson. One thing I will say is bring some food. I know they have food inside the festival area, but like snacks and stuff, but my friend is intolerant to gluten, so she couldn't, there were only a few things she could eat, and after a few days it gets really boring. And they had a lot of cake and typical English style sandwiches, like soft and sandwich bread, and I don't really like any of that. So I would say if you have, maybe bring some of your own food. Of course we were buying food and coffee there and supporting the festival, and you shouldn't, I mean, that's not the idea, right? To come and bring all your own stuff. But if you, for example, want some fruit or you want some different things, it's a good idea to bring them. That's what I wanted to say. Anyway, so on the last day, we went back on Saturday. It was not the last day. The festival also had an event on Sunday, but we didn't go. So on Saturday, I went back to the booth, to used booth, and they had sold out of the grey yarn, of course, my luck. But this yarn, which I had been told was sold out, was not, because they had another batch. And I got myself 300 grams, 6 skeins. They are 50 gram skeins. And I got myself 300 grams of this beautiful yarn. And I already did a sketch for an idea. I think it's absolutely stunning. I can't wait. I talked about it, I won't talk more about it, but I actually got 6 skeins of this, not one as on the first day. And the thing was, they told me, and that's also why I got a bit stressed about going there on Sundays, they probably won't, it takes them a long time to produce this yarn as they do it all themselves, and they probably won't have any more yarn until next year for EYF of this kind. So it's kind of a rare yarn to get your hands on, and I just love the idea. I will put in some footage of the booth. I don't know if I will do it in the middle or in the end. I will see when I'm editing what works the best. But their booth was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I actually think I will pop it in the little clips as I go, because it's fun to see while I'm talking about it.
Yeah, it's a really good piece, and it's just, well, the swatch kind of is obviously just on the...
I haven't been able to squish in enough to...
I'll grab it from the easily distant minded.
Then we went to Jameson & Smith, to their booth, and I got myself 3 little skeins. They are the cutest skeins. I mean, these are 25 grams. They're absolutely adorable. You just feel like getting a lot of them. It's like a candy shop. It's a whole wall full of skeins. Again, I can put in a clip. And this is a very nice purple, but like not tweedy. I don't know if you call this tweedy, but it has a lot of different colors in the purple, and it's the shade 87 mix. And there you go. And it's the 2-ply jumper weight. So they're 2-ply jumper weight. It's 100% real Shetland wool, 25 grams, 115 meters. I got these 3 colors with the intention of pairing them with the BC gun. I think these two could be gorgeous together. I have an idea for a design, a simple colorworky-ish design, and yeah, these are gonna be my 2 little friends. As you see, I have a lot of ideas, and all I will need is more time. But this stash is gonna last me for a long time, I feel. Excuse me. Yep, so Jameson and Smith. We also went to the Jameson of Shetland, 2 different brands. Took me some time to figure out. I knew it before we going to the festival. It's just Jameson. When you hear Jameson, you have to remember there are 2 different brands. And I got, from the Jameson and Smith, I also got this color, which is like, again, this kind of cinnamon brown, but this one has a lot of yellow. And when I came to the Jameson of Shetland booth, they had another one similar, because the yarns are interchangeable, that I liked a lot more. So now I have this little 25-gram ball. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm not so crazy about the amount of yellow that you can see. Again, this is one of those that I got more visible as I got out of the festival area, but I think I will use it for some presents, or maybe in some color work where it's not so massive. I think it will be pretty when it's, yeah, and from a distance, from a distance, it's okay. I think it's okay. So as you see, my colors have been gray, gray, and purple, a lot of purple, and this color. So nothing unusual. And then we went back. I remember we were sitting and knitting at the podcasters lounge, and I just had this feeling like, let's do one last round. Let's just take one last look at everything. And one thing I didn't put on my list was something for shawl. I am generally not knitting many shawls, but I really like wearing them, so that's kind of silly that I want to change that. I really want to make more shawls for myself. I'm knitting a lot of garments, and although I love garments, I don't always wear woolen garments. So I went on a hunt for some shawl yarn with no specific yarn in mind, just, yeah, last day. And I went to the Molview, I don't know how you're supposed to say this, yarn. She's an indie dyer from Wales, North Wales, and I got 2 skeins of a beautiful yarn. These are just amazing. Let me see. This one has a bit more, they're the same colorway, but this one has a bit more pink. I don't know if you can see them, like little splashes of pink. This one doesn't really, but then again, I feel like I see them. It's a gray, purplish, pearly color, and it is dyed with eucalyptus, she told me. And there was a bit of lac left over in the dye pot from, yeah, that's the pink, you can see a little bit of lac. And I think this would make a beautiful shawl, like for the warmer months. So like for spring, I feel like I don't want to wear this brown. These tones I really love, but for me, they're just not spring colors. I really want something different, like in a shawl. So, and I already have a gray shawl, and I wanted some color, but something that would go with everything. And I think this color is just, it is absolutely beautiful. And her booth was so sweet. She had dried flowers and so much beautiful yarn. The only thing I will say is, on the first day when I went there, she had a lot of yarn laid out for display that was very shiny, and I guess it was a silk blend, something, and it's just not me. I don't really like the shiny texture at all, like finish on the. It was beautiful yarn, beautiful colors, but it wasn't me. And what happened with a lot of the booths is they changed up their placement of the yarn from the first to the second or the third day. And so when I went on the last day, these were lying more visibly, or maybe I just didn't see them because there were a lot of people and I might just have missed a little bit of yarn, but I saw these and I just had to get them. Don't remember how much they were. It's a 4-ply fingering, 100 grams, 300 meters, a crossbreed of blue-faced Leicester Ram and local Welsh Hill breed. and it says to create this darling yarn with plenty of character. It's a Welsh mule. This yarn, I touched a little hat that was knit up in this yarn, and it was so soft. It just felt so wonderful knit up. It doesn't feel as soft in the skein. I mean, it's soft. It's perfect for me. It's a very nice kind of amount of softness, but it didn't feel as soft in the as when it was knit up. That's what I'm trying to say. And I really love the label on this one. It's a label you will remember and you don't forget. And it was such a beautiful booth. She had little extra things, little ceramic houses, which unfortunately she was not selling, so I hope she will someday. They're really nice. Yeah, and then we went back to, I almost forgot one thing, we went back to Isolde's booth, and she had books, so I got this one, which I have been looking at for quite some time, and it's just so beautiful. So many beautiful stitches in here. I mean, let me just find, for example, these. I think they would be so adorable to design like a little dress for a girl with maybe some of these details. So a lot of ideas from this book. There were a lot of other books that looked very interesting and beautiful. And I see people got the book called Make Your Own La Papesa, and I didn't see that one, and I really wanted it, so it's gonna go on my birthday wish list, because my birthday is coming up in June. Yeah. What more do I want to say? I have so much to talk about and tell and explain, and I could talk for hours, and I'm already over 1 hour, and I don't want to make the episode too long, and also I can't talk about everything. But when I wanted to talk about what was a big part of the experience for me was meeting all the lovely podcasters, and not only podcasters, because that's silly. I met a lot of wonderful knitters, and the most important thing is that we all had in common is we were all knitters, and I would just remove some yarn from the table. And it was just such an experience to meet people, and even though I'm not shy in that way, but I'm a little bit reserved just to go up to people, as I talked about, and interrupt the conversation, because it would be impossible to meet people if you're not a little bit moving around. I still met a lot of people, and it was just so much fun. As I said, the first I met up with Lina from the Fox and the Sheep, and I made a little list of everyone I met, just because I actually wanted to remember and not to forget anyone, and it was just wonderful, and in no particular order or no way how I met them. I met Anna from the Dunkelgrün podcast. She's the sweetest. She gave us this hand bomb that is she made herself. You can watch in her last podcast how she made it. It's actually, I don't remember now. I keep thinking it's a hand balm, just a homemade lanolin balm. Is it for the lips? And I've been putting it on my hands. I guess it's okay. It's made with cinnamon and patchouli, and it's 100% organic, cocoa butter, shea butter, lanolin, beeswax, and essential oils, and it's made by Anna. There you go. Let me just open it out. It has a very nice cinnamon scent, and it's like a very hard balm, and you have to work it quite a bit to get it, to make it soft. But I think it will be very nice. I think it's for the hand, because we're talking about that we need something for hands. Anyways, Anna, remind me, was it for the hands or for the lips or for everything? I would probably use it for everything. And it's a perfect size to go in my handbag. So yeah, we're sitting with Anna, and who else was there? Maria from Ninja Chickens. and she gave us this fun little badge, and I love that the chicken has this smirky ninja smile. I don't know if you could see it. Yeah. And it was lovely chatting to her as well and having some nice conversations. I also managed to talk a little bit to Amy from Stranded Dyeworks. Amy Florence. She has a podcast. I guess you all know her. And she gifted these 2 little mini skeins. I mean, I'm so in love with this one. It's pretty. And as I said, I'm normally not a big fan of colorful superwash yarns, but I really love that that in this world of knitting, there's so much versatility or so many different styles, and I really love colors too. I just don't feel like wearing them so much anymore. When I was younger, I was doing I was much more colorful, I think. Yeah, beautiful little mini skeins. Thank you, Amy. She was busy all the time talking to people. I mean, the bigger podcasters looked quite tired at times when they had a break from all the talking. I think it was very nice just being there as a nobody, let's say. I still had people coming up to me, and it was so much fun. The first one was Preciousmetta, whom I know on Instagram, who came and said she watches my podcast, and it was just, it's so weird when people come and talk to, I mean weird, but don't expect them to come and want to talk to me, of all the people sitting in the podcasters lounge. I'm looking down because there was also, who was it? Huhnpopuhn, don't know how to say it. She came and said hello. She's knitting my retour design, and that was very nice to meet her. I met Christina from Som Ull, who is she has a yarn shop in Norway, and she was also a tester for my retour sweater. And she was wearing it. I have a picture of us wearing it, and when we met on the first day, we were both wearing the Birkin. She has a little cropped, very cute version, and I'm just so amazed because she is Norwegian, but she has a perfect Danish accent. She lived in Denmark for some years, and that doesn't happen often, because what happens with us Norwegians, Danes, Swedish, we understand each other. I think they have a harder time understanding Danish than we have understanding Norwegian and Swedish, because Danish is a bit more soft as a language. We don't roll on the R's and stuff like that. It's when they're nice, they say it sounds like we speak with a big hot potato in our mouth. So and she was just so sweet, and I love that we were matching for the festival and it wasn't planned. And so that was Christina. I met, let me think, I had a little Polish invasion from, just a second, from Barbara, from Knitting I Love. She's Polish but lives in the UK. And she came with Magdalena from Wolff and Schafe, I think. She lives in Switzerland, Austria. But it's also Polish, and they were very sweet and came and talked to me about, since I've been talking so much about Poland and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. Also, I met Isabelle from Fluffy Fibers, and I feel so bad because the first thing I said to her was, "You're so tiny." I didn't expect her to. She was so tiny. I mean, I'm a small person. I'm 1 meter and 62 centimeters, and she was just the sweetest little tiny person. And we started talking, but then the Polish invasion happened, and I never finished talking to her. I hope I will be back next year, because there were so many people I really wanted to talk more to and say hello to. I also got a little mini skein of yarn. Wow, this color is so bright. But it's dyed on rustic non-superwash wool. It's dyed by Emilie from Let me find her little Arctic yarns. So she's Arctic knitting. She has a podcast, and she dyes beautiful yarn. She was knitting with a red yarn. She dyed herself. She normally dyes on Norwegian wool. I think Spelsau. No, not Spelsau. Pelswool, because we're talking about it. And she was so sweet, and I really love. She has a son my age, and it was fun talking to her. I hope you got home well, Emilie, because I know you had some problems. So I got a little mini skein of that. I met, let me see, and together with Maria from Ninja Chickens was Hey Brownberry, wonderful ladies, so much. Marceline. I met, of course, Ida from The Knitting Pace. She's another Danish podcaster, and Ida, I was impressed. You were there on your own. I mean, I know you had your boyfriend with you, but he wasn't really at the festival, and you just seemed like having such a wonderful time. I hope you will come to Odense and knit with Heidi and I sometimes. That would be a lot of fun. And we met, and together with Ida was Raquel. Hola, Raquel. Raquel and I got to speak some Spanish, and it just makes me so happy, because if there's something that's my other passion is languages, and I speak Spanish and Italian, and speaking Spanish at a Wolff festival with a lovely person that is Raquel was just so much fun. I have to go to Barcelona. I think I will try to come. I'm really tempted to go for the festival, but I think that's a bit too much. But there's a festival in Barcelona soon, and that would be a lot of fun going there. Who else? I met Lina from Lina Knits. She's a Finnish podcaster, and I really wanted to say hello to Maria from Tuscan Knits, but she was sick on the first day, so poor Maria was home in the bed, and I didn't manage to say hello to her on the day that she actually came to the festival. And I met Gracie O'Neill from Babbles Traveling Knits. I met her camera, because I don't remember we talked that much, but I was watching her podcast. It's actually really funny. I was watching her podcast from Edinburgh, and she has some funny clips of me saying that I'm a yarn swift. You can go watch those. That was, I have a little. So one thing I know, and I forgot some more people, some more important people. I met Corinne from the Woolly Thistle, which of course at the moment I was like, the Woolly Thistle, that sounds familiar. Who's that? She has a yarn shop in the US and sells a lot of beautiful yarn, so I should have known. And I met her together with Sarah. Let me just check, because some of the names I keep forgetting. Sarah from the Fiber Trek, which it's a podcast I've been watching as well. It's all about the rustic natural wool, and she was so sweet talking to. I met her twice, and the first time she didn't realize who I was, which doesn't matter, because it's the same thing happened to me all the time. I mean, I meet people and I'm like, yeah, that sounds familiar, something, and then once I get home I'm like, oh, I talked to that person, and oh, I talked to this person, and that was just, but I think that's everyone I wanted to mention. I mean, I might forget someone, and I talked to some really wonderful ladies that came up to me and were interested in my design, or I was wearing my retro sweater one of the days, and it was so much fun getting to talk about the yarn and the design with people in real life. It was just all in all a wonderful experience. Oh, and I also got this the sweetest little care package that the girls from Holland Handmade were handing out. It has little candies and little yarn and tea bag. There were so many people handing out things, and I think if I'm coming next year I will have to make something that I can give to people. I had a little business card thing that my friend made for me, but I didn't have anything. I wanted to give something as well. Okay, now I'm at 1 hour and 20 minutes and I still have to add in the clips, so I think I'm gonna end it here. I wanted to say a huge thank you to the people behind the festival because it was very well organized. It was a little slow getting into the festival on the second day. It was pretty cold line waiting outside, and as you can hear in my voice, I got a little sick from it. Also on to Black Irons for sponsoring the podcast lounge. Even though I was not officially a podcast, I kind of stayed there for most of the time. It was a lot of fun. I have a lot of things I experienced outside Edinburgh. I managed to do a little bit of sightseeing on Saturday. We left the festival a bit early because wanted to see some of Edinburgh. Also on Sunday, had a lovely time, but I think I will leave that out because it's already so long, and I might talk about things here and there as I remember them. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say again, as always, you can find me everywhere on Ravelry, Instagram, and yeah, I'm not on Facebook. I always say that. Yeah, on Ravelry and Instagram as Fiber Tales. I am most active on Instagram, and I would try to get back to some of the many messages that I got in the Ravelry group, in the Introduce Yourself thread, and also in the Knit Along. Knit Along has been super busy. I'm just loving it. I will open a thread for finished objects soon. And if you haven't joined, I hope you will. It would be fun. There's a lot of nice patterns you could pick from if you don't have access to Danish yarns, so I think that would be fun. And that's it. Now I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna make another tea with honey, so my voice can recover a little bit. I think that was all. Yeah. See you soon. Bye.